champions in mixed doubles, and now it's on to the men's doubles format. And, of course, the winners here will be back in the spring for the Tournament of Champions.
An interesting stat that you gave me before we taped the show, that every single number 1 seeded team has won the championship week. We'll see if it continues this week, or maybe Phil and Tom have something to say about that.
Yeah, we have 3 teams already in the Tournament of Champions. We'll refresh your memory on those 3 teams a little bit later, but all 3 of those teams that won were number 1 seeds, so they came in with that top spot and were able to defend it with that win. But we've got a pretty warm team coming in here to try and make it 3 in a row. So let's meet all of our bowlers here now. First of all, our number 3 seeded team, they've won 2 matches straight. Last week they beat Mike O'Brien and Ron Root with an outstanding 401 triple. From Warren, Mass., Phil Clough, and his partner from Natick, Tom O'Brien.
Okay, and Phil comes in averaging 114. His roll-off score 672. Tom O'Brien 127, 647.
You see a right-hander and a left-hander, our number 3 seeded team, and they have been averaging right around 130 a game for their first 6 games here on Stars and Strikes doubles. And they'll be facing our number 1 seeded team. These guys have been waiting for this chance to try and defend the number 1 spot, and now they'll get a chance to do it. From Bow, New Hampshire, Dan Brodeur, and from Manchester, New Hampshire, his partner, Peter Pereira.
Okay, Dan Brodeur carries an average of 121. His roll-off score 686, and first time with us is Peter Pereira, 127 average and 645 his roll-off score.
The winning team on today's show will share $800 first place prize money and, of course, get the automatic qualification into the Tournament of Champions. The runners-up today will split $400 second place prize money. All of the bowlers will be getting plaques from the N&R Trophy Company in Winchendon, Massachusetts. And we've got 3 strings of doubles bowling coming up, and we're going to start this championship match right after this timeout. Don't go away. Welcome back to the second half of Championship Sunday here on Stars and Strikes doubles. If you haven't been with us the last few weeks, Bob Buxton and Brian McKinley got off to a big start in this series with a 408, but they were knocked off in their second week by Phil Clough and Tom O'Brien, as were Mike O'Brien and Ron Root, knocked off by that team last week as Clough and Tom O'Brien fired a 401. So that leaves our number 3 seeded team against our number 1 seeded team, Dan Brodeur and Peter Pereira. And we're going to get this match started right now as Tom O'Brien steps up on lane 32. The big money and the positioning in the Tri-State Megabucks doubles Tournament of Champions, all riding on what happens in these 3 strings. And Tom gets that 5-pin a rocking, but it'll be the 3. No, it will go, the 3-pin. Tom reached for another ball and it went over. Well, he'll take that one in the first box.
Yeah, I'd be pretty confident, I think, shooting at that one myself. I think I could make, 10 out of 20 of those.
Oh, nice looking ball, but perhaps a tiny bit thin on the head pin, and he's left with the 5 and the 10.
I don't know if he can get the 10-pin clean, have the wood swing all the way around, or go at the 5-pin and try to cap the wood. That's what he's going to try to do. He does.
Nice shot.
Excellent shot.
That's a great spare right there for Tom O'Brien.
Here's the replay. Just catches the 5. The 5 goes into the wood, and it's just enough to carry the 10-pin. That was a fantastic shot.
Here is Dan Brodeur. Dan was last with us back in November on the singles format. Reeled off a couple of wins over Tim Lipke and Bob Kelly before losing to Stu Bergman. Stu Bergman went on to win that series and qualify for the singles Tournament of Champions.
It's good out by Dan. Always interesting to watch that final ball when you have 4 or 5 pins standing. Danny elected to go for the head pin. It could have been a 6 box or ended up with a 9. But he elected to take a little gamble early in the match. Well, he's looking at the 1-7-10 this time, and practically going to have to do it by himself. I don't know if that wood is going to help him at all. Well, it may now. It's coming back over. Should be of a little help to him, I would think. Two flush on the head pin, right straight back.
We'll talk more about this in detail later, but just to give you a frame of reference, the 3 teams that have already qualified for the doubles tournament of champions, Gary Carrington and Jack Ray with a 4.48, Mike Morrill and Jack Quinn with a 4.12, Mike Morgan and Paul St. Pierre with a 3.73. As we look at Phil Clough working on his partner's spare. Looking for 3 in a row? No.
We'll be, I'm sure, mentioning those scores again as this match progresses, because that determines their seeding in the Tournament of Champions.
And of course, next week here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, we will begin a special 4-week series of women's doubles competition. In fact, we're going to be taping that women's doubles series on Tuesday, this Tuesday, January 21st, starting at about 9:30 in the morning and going till 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon. So we'd love to have you come down here to Park Place Lanes in Windham, New Hampshire. Exit 3 off Route 93. And we'd love to have you come by and say hello.
First look at Peter Pereira from Manchester, New Hampshire.
His first visit with us, and boy, that was a quiet ball.
Oh, wow.
It was quiet till it got down there.
Boy, you could hardly hear that ball hit the lane.
Well, no matter what happens from here, Pete can always say that
his debut was great, huh?
First ball he threw on television was a strike.
He's looking for the double. That close to one. Leaves himself the 3 and the 6.
Nope, just sliding by. Oh, not a bad start for his first 2, first time here. Tom O'Brien now. Tom from Natick works as the president and CEO of Venture Enterprises, a wholesale merchandise company. Well, I say he works. I mean, if he's the president and the CEO, does he really work?
Yeah, I belong to one of those corporations myself, but no, I work.
Pretty good 9 there for Tom. Tom qualified for the show with a 647 roll-off score, which left him in 8th place. And he strikes in the 6th.
It looked like that 9-pin had just stopped wiggling, and all of a sudden it just fell over.
Dan Brodeur now. Mentioned Tom O'Brien finishing 8th with that 647. He actually tied with John Maffio. Dan Brodeur throws a solid 4-pin, but the tie is broken in the roll-off by the bowler with the highest single string in the roll-off, and John Maffio had the highest single. He had a 154. Tom O'Brien's highest single was 142, so that dropped Tom O'Brien down to 8th spot and determined that he was paired with Phil Clough, and so far they've done okay.
Dan Brodeur covers that 4-pin without any problem. Right back in the pocket. This time he gets the strike.
Strike on spare.
And recaptures the lead, if not momentarily. And you see the 7-pin going down.
3 marks for each team now. And Phil Clough to fill a strike. Each team with a strike up in the 6th.
We dropped that one badly. Actually dropped that one behind the foul line.
Fortunately, he's working on a strike so he can recover. He does with an 8 fill. He's going to try and sweep this, and he does for the 10. Well, you talked about decisions on the third ball. And that's a wise one there. It gives yourself a chance to make both.
Flush on the head pin. 3-2 split. The 2-4-7 on the left, 6-10 on the right.
(96-8) for the team of Clough and O'Brien. Pete Pereira now, he will work on a strike. Left by Dan Brodeur. Peter from Manchester, New Hampshire, yet he works as the manager of the Woburn Bolodrome down in Woburn, Mass. It's a pretty lengthy commute every day.
Oh, that wow. Close. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Yes. Oh. It'll go. Just like he planned it.
I thought he might cover it right here. Wood goes both directions, and then this one stays alive.
It's 3 marks in a row for the team.
Oh, he's right in the pocket.
Maybe
oh,
4 in a row.
Nothing cheap about that strike. That was over in a matter of a fraction of a second. Just buried the ball in the 1-2 pocket. Makes it 4 marks in a row. 117-8 with still a strike working.
Look out. Here's another
right
one.
Back.
Tom O'Brien throws one up there in the 9th. We've seen 5 strikes already in this match. Tom turned away.
Watch out. It's going to come forward. He's going to get a double strike.
Tom turned away because the ball kind of faded on him as he let it go, and he knew he was going to miss the head pin, but not too bad, all things considered. Right on it for a spare.
Made a mistake, but he got a break out of it, and he cashed in on the break by converting the head pin for a spare on strike 126 with 1 more ball to come.
Tom doesn't wait too long. He's right in the pocket, but it's a 6 fill for a 132.
Those 2 big boxes for Tom O'Brien because it appears that Dan Brodeur and Pete Pereira will have the lead, but not as much as if he didn't get those 2 marks, his final 2. Dan working on a strike.
Going inside. It's a 6 fill on the strike that was left by Peter Pereira. And a 7 box, 130. So a 14-pin lead, but as you see, they're opposite the spare 6 in the 10th.
And he put that ball way to the left, but gives himself a makeable spare in the 1-3-6 and the sleeper in the back, the 9-pin.
Ooh, played it softly off the head pin and just slipped it right through there without knocking anything over.
Well, each team has the benefit of 5 marks, and I would say that the match should be close, and it's going to be very close. 8 pins.
That's the difference. 140 for Dan Brodeur and Peter Pereira. 132 for Phil Clough and Tom O'Brien. 2 games to go. Championship week on Stars and Strikes doubles. We'll be back in a minute.
I always play the lottery, but I never won. Then the psychic...
Any kind of a comment at all, we'd love to have you give us that comment in writing. Stars and Strikes doubles, WNDS TV 50, 50 Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire, 03038. Pete Pereira, half Worcester to start game 2. We've talked the last few weeks, Dan, about all the nice Christmas mail that we got, and I did want to mention one more. Mention about, same spot for Pete.
He elected to try to go inside, which is the way to make that half Worcester. Now he's going to just got to scramble and get as many as he can on this third ball.
Phil and Marie McTighe out in Harvard, Mass, in the Worcester area. It's a nice out for Pete, the 9. Phil and Marie have written to us before, and they wanted to assure us that we have a lot of fans down there in the greater Worcester area watching us on cable and over the air as well. So thanks to them for a very nice Christmas card, and to all of you who sent in cards. We really appreciate it. Even though we don't mention them all on the air, we do read them all. We read every one.
In fact, we have to hold up the taping someday so we can read the mail.
Couple of 9s for Pete Pereira, his team leading by 8 after one game. Pretty impressive start by these two teams. 140 and 132 here in Championship Sunday. Phil Clough was trying to wave that out of the middle. He had a feeling it was going to be right in the center, and he was right.
Just missed that. Watch it coming back. Just barely missed the 3-pin. He still almost converted that for a spare.
9 for Phil. Phil out in Warren, Mass, out in the Springfield area. His wife Diane, they have 3 children. 29-year-old Eric, 23-year-old, or is that 28-year-old Quentin, 28-year-old, and 26-year-old Deanna. Phil works for Warren Pumps as a designer and does a lot of his bowling at State Bowl in Springfield.
And he's looking at the 1, the 4, and the 7. Oh, he may kick forward. No, wasn't frozen against the head pin. Otherwise, it might have kicked forward and got the head pin from behind. Well, we're all tied up. 4 9s.
Did you ever roll a string where you bowled 10 identical either 9 boxes or 10 boxes?
No, never have. It's awful, though, you know, because I bowl, most of the time you bowl in a league and you're on a team, and I have thought about that so many times, like starting with 5 10s, and I said that would be kind of unique to get 10 10s. So now you get a single pin up with a piece of wood and say, do I get it for a spare, or do I kind of shave it a little bit? I said, nah, I can't do that to my teammates. That close to a spare.
How about 10 spares? Probably you've done that.
I have done 10 marks, yeah, a couple times. In fact, I'm glad I finished that because Dan Brodeur is a teammate of mine. Next time I miss a single pin with a wood in front of it, he's trying to get all 10s.
Here's a 10 for Dan.
I think I've told this story before, though. I used to bowl a long time ago in Massachusetts with a fellow who was very, very, very superstitious, to the point where he thought if he got to mark the first box of the first game, that he'd have a lousy night. And so he would not get a mark in the first box.
Wow. What if he threw a strike?
Yeah, that's really... Yeah, he'd be
really upset, right?
Yeah.
Never heard that before.
No. A strange bunch, this Candlepin group. And we're still perfect. No marks. Through 6 boxes completed. 4 for Dan Brodeur and Pete Pereira. And Tom O'Brien, see if he can break that string with his 3rd and 4th boxes for his team. It's gonna be a good spare.
Playing it inside, didn't get quite enough of the head pin. Nine box it is.
6, 9, and a 9s and a 10 so far.
Oh, it wants that 4-pin.
That 4-pin's got to go. I was going to say, that can't stand up. That's not good enough for Tom. He wants the 10-pin also.
Getting greedy.
Wow. Wanted a piece of wood roll next to it or something.
This is really the first time any of the bowlers have had anything to shoot at here in this second game for a mark. And he's right on it for a mark. Spare up in the 4th, and we will pause right there. The team of Clough and O'Brien trailing by 8, but they've got that spare up in the 4th. That could change everything. We'll be back.
Tonight at 8 on TV 50's Movie Watch.
Here are the winning numbers from last night's Tri-State Megabucks drawing.
Back to the action we go. Pete Pereira picking it up with box number 5, game 2. Seven, 8. And what will the wood do? We'll watch Pete as he watches it.
Well, he's got to take the front one. He's got to take the front one somehow, and probably the higher the better to the right-hand tip of it. Just like that.
Yeah.
Oh, great shot.
He looked back at his partner, Dan Brodeur, for a little help on that one, and they consulted, and it worked.
Hit it right in the cap. Almost hit it too good. And then finally the 8-pin fell into the 7. That's the way to make it. That was a good spare. The fill. I still say is a rule change is needed. And the degree of difficulty of the spare should automatically get 3 or 4 pins.
Oh, how about
this.
it? Oh, on the spread eagle. Leaves the 7-pin. He thought he had it. He threw that ball right exactly where it should be. Be a 9 box.
60 through 6.
Let's take a look at that spread eagle.
Ooh, that close, and that wood just seemed to settle into the channel rather than roll against the 7-pin. Phil Clough carrying the extra pin right now.
And that was a fill of that spare to cut into the lead. So the lead through completed frames right now is just 2 for Brodeur and Pereira. Phil Clough is opposite a spare in this box, though. Yes, he got it.
Great shot.
Oh, yeah.
Benefited from the wood being in between. Watch the wood kick up. Well, it actually kept the 2-pin in play. This time it's a light hit. Let's see. And make
Still
it
coming.
7.
That gives them the lead by 1.
Well, he's just going to go half to the 2-pin, and hopefully the ball will carry through for the 2, and the wood will spread, get the 7 and the 10. No, he's too far to the right. He wanted to clip that other piece of wood there, laying flat across the beginning of the plate.
Phil waiting for that wood in the back. This could spray. Nope, he was able to avoid the piece in the back. Nope, just past the halfway point, and the difference is just 2 pins in the match. Phil Clough and Tom O'Brien in the lead. Dan Brodeur now.
Wow. Well, it's a makeable spare, but I think myself and along with Dan probably thought he had a bit better leave than he has. The 4, the 9, the 10, going to play the wood right down the center of the lane. No, not close. Nice try.
Dan and his wife, Marlene, who has also been on the show several times, live in Bow, New Hampshire, and Dan works as an industrial electrician for Concord Litho Company. And I don't really know where Dan does most of his bowling.
I was just going to ask you where I do. And his wife, too. Great place in Concord. People all should come up and visit us. Boutwell's Bowling Center, 152 North State Street. Phone number. No.
I'll collect.
2, 4, 7, and 10 left for Dan. Yes, a good spare. Spare in the 8th.
7th mark for the team. Each team with 7 now. Tom O'Brien. Well, let's see what this does. Took out the 1 and the 2. He's still got a tough shot, though.
He doesn't want that wood come too much further out.
No.
4, 7, and 9.
Still play down on the red line of the wood,
You
4 and 7?
still have to go after 4 and 7. If that front piece of wood was a little farther to the left, you might use it.
No. Tom dropped that one a little bit, it appeared. And the same spot.
He just picked that ball up and delivered. It wasn't, didn't take his time too much.
That seesaws the lead back over to the Brodeur and Pereira side of the board by 1. But Tom comes right back with a 9 drop. He's trying to match the mark put up by Dan Brodeur. And he does. Boy, this one has been very, very tight ever since the midway portion of the first game. Actually, Brodeur and Pereira at one time had a 27-pin lead. But Clough and O'Brien made up a lot of that in the last 2 boxes of the first game, and since then it's been very, very close. Pete Pereira on a spare. At least 8, make it 9.
I heard somebody say flatten out. He wants the wood to flatten out, and it does. A red liner to the left should have no problem here.
Looks like it may be frozen anyway. Easily for the spare.
Go back to that first string when they had the string of 4 marks there. Spear, strike, spear, strike. There's a lot of extra pins there in the fills. Phil Clough and Tom O'Brien really haven't had a streak like that. Off target a little bit there, but drop of 7, and let's see, 1, the 8, and the 9. We've seen these 3 go out. That's when you left the spread eagle plus the 5 pin. These are the 3 pins you knock out. You wonder how you can do it. Well, he has a wooden back of the head pin. Yeah, he's just thinking head pin after that. Gonna need some help.
And it'll be a 9 box. A 115, a 2-string total, 255. So Phil Clough steps up on a mark with 7.
And that was a big pin that just fell down, because otherwise he's looking at the 2, 4, 6, 10. Now he's looking at the 2, 6, 10, but the wood is there. He's got a shot.
And he makes the shot. And that should give his team the lead when all is said and done here in the second game. Phil on the mark in the 9th is a solid 8 drop. The 7 and the 9 remain. Tom is the Mark Fidrich of bowling.
That's right.
You should keep talking at those pins.
I think it rolled a little too far to the right, though.
Nope. Well, I take it back. Clough and O'Brien will not get enough to get the lead at the end of 2.
Oh, it was able to go that way.
But it's going to be about as close as it can be. 1 pin separates our 2 teams. The championship on the line, 255 for Brodeur and Pereira, 254 for Clough and O'Brien after 2. We'll be back. Don't go away. Well, here we go. Third game. Only 1 pin separating the 2 teams. With $800 to the winners, $400 to the runners-up. Winning team, of course, comes back in the spring for the Tournament of Champions, and Tom O'Brien starts it off.
And he starts it off looking at the 2, 4, and the 7.
And he makes it for the spare.
Avoiding that piece of wood, or the double piece of wood out in front. Clears the 3 pins away.
10th mark for the team. A little full on the head pin.
3, 6, 4, 7. Going after the 3 and the 6.
And gets out of it nicely for the 10. Well, now, Pete Pereira, who's making his first appearance here on Stars and Strikes, will lead off this third game, completely blowing to pieces Dan's theory about the veteran going first in the key situation. But Peter has been bowling very well.
He doesn't seem as timid as a lot of the people coming on the first time.
There's a nice shot for a spare. Got a little break on the first ball, which was not a particularly good one.
Right on the flush on the head pin. Wood does the rest of the damage for the 8 and the 10 pins.
Now on the spare.
Oh, right through the middle. 3.
Pete throws a very straight ball. And if it's straight where you want it to be, it can be devastating. If it's straight in the middle, though, like that one was, that's what'll happen. Ooh. So just 19 in the first 2, even with the mark, and the lead for Clough and O'Brien grows to 6 as they take it away, at least for the moment. Been back and forth several times already in this match.
4, 7, 9. Well, he wants that wood to come back a little bit.
Again, if you're thinking ahead to the final score of this match, both teams in the 250s after 2. So it would take a pretty large effort to get up near 400. We have 2 teams qualified over 400 already for the Tournament of Champions.
The third place team is, I would say, definitely is in jeopardy.
But they're not even thinking about that. They just want to get there.
That's right.
Phil's had a long wait on the 4, 7, and 9 and unable to convert it. $10. Coming up short that time.
Left the door open for Dan Brodeur, assuming that he's not going to make this one, but have to wait because he's very capable.
Wow, looked better than it turned out. And he sweeps it out for a couple of 10 boxes. Every pin could be critical here, so those 2 10 boxes, important.
Dan Brodeur up for the 3rd and 4th frames.
Oh, and he throws a big ball, leaving the 10.
But he's got a tough shot unless that wood rolls back, which it apparently is going to do.
And it appears it will stay.
Wants to be the red line or to the right.
He's right there. What red line? What wood? Could retake the lead with this fill.
Well, see, got away with a 7. Missed the head pin, but decent break. 1, 3, and 7 pins.
They lead by 1. Opposite another open frame.
Ooh, just missed. Wait a minute.
Nope.
Just missed it. Slid by in the right. Almost got it from the back door.
Needs this pin to maintain the lead with 6 boxes to go. Got it. We will take a timeout. Still very tight. 1 pin separating these two teams with 6 boxes to go. We'll be back to settle it on Stars and Strikes Doubles after these words. We have just 6 boxes to go here on Championship Sunday. Only 1 pin separating these two teams. Tom O'Brien up with his partner, Phil Clough, trailing by 1 pin in the match. Glad you could join us this week. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy, our director Victor Cross, and the outstanding WNDS TV 50 crew. Joe Paglia, our lob line judge. Dick Bailey keeping score on the big scoreboard here at Park Place Lanes, and Tom O'Brien with the spare.
That was a difficult spare, too. As he went any farther to the left, I don't think he would have carried the 8 pin with that wood.
A little thin, and there's the result. Well, this could be interesting. 5, 7, and 10 with all kinds of wood.
Well, I don't think he's going to have any trouble with the 5 and the 7. The 10 pin is going to be the problem.
Got them all.
Problem. So much for that problem. The ball did take the 10 pin. In fact, it took it out a lot quicker than I thought it was even going to go at all.
2 critical marks there for Tom O'Brien, putting the pressure on this man. Boy, he throws a very smooth ball, doesn't he?
2, 5, and 9.
It's kind of an unusual lead.
You're right. Middle 3 pins.
Oh, yes. How about that one?
Maintain your lead. All you have to do is match what your opponents put up. So
none of the shots are easy now, though.
No.
Even the easy ones aren't easy now.
That's right. Squeeze the ball a little harder. Press a little more.
A little full, but the wood will stay in position to perhaps help this shot. He matched Tom's fill of 7.
He's got to be on the 2 pin. The wood is directly behind it. The 2 pin is liable to jump toward the 6 pin, but can he carry the 4?
Yes,
he does.
From behind, and he matches what Tom O'Brien put up there exactly.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, 2 pin actually came up, hit the top of the bottom 2 board, and came down on the 6 pin, and result is a spare. That's a 7 pin drop, 8 pin drop. They're still falling. 4-7 left for Phil Clough. And he's going to have a piece of wood that he could play, or the pins. Here's a shot where you have to make your mind up before you start your approach. You don't want to change your mind halfway through.
He got it there. 3 marks in a row. 13 for the team overall. Oh, and a little bit short on the fill. Just 2. If ever there were a time to make the half Worcester, this would be it.
Well, at least you want to do is make the spare count. You got 2 on it, so he wants either a 9 or a 10.
gets the 9. So a total of 21 pins in those 2 boxes for Phil Clough. Dan Brodeur now on a spare. Anything over 7 on this Phil will give his team the lead.
That's over 7. That's a big 9, and it's a solid 6-pin up there.
Oh, and
just
slid
sliding by.
Wow.
Just dropped that one a little bit.
Well, that's going to keep things
Even
pretty
closer.
much a dead heat
Right.
because of that 2 Phil on the spare. Misses it again. That actually gives the team of Clough and O'Brien the lead by 1 pin.
Wow. My palms are sweaty. And I'm not even up there.
Nope. He'll
Break
have
off the
something
head
else.
pin.
Have something else to shoot at here.
The 1 and the 3. Would like nothing better to give his partner, Pete Pereira, a mark to work on when he gets up there for the final 2 frames of the match.
Yes.
Ooh, just got enough.
He skipped that ball a little
Skipped
bit.
it. He was on the object pin. Thought he was too full at first, just enough to carry the 3. So it's dead even. They will be ahead by whatever Pete Pereira puts on that mark. Now Tom O'Brien, his final 2. So you figure he's going to have to get at least 1 mark.
Ooh, almost did it on the first ball. Imagine what Tom is going through up there now, because he's been wanting this championship very much. Of course, he's been here the last 3 series in a row on the doubles program.
Those pieces of wood are way out in front. Be careful. I almost want to slow the ball down a little bit with something like
Looked
that.
like he did.
But you got to be careful you don't lose your accuracy or your timing when you do that. But you almost want to keep the pins in play. If you hit them too hard, they're going to fly and possibly away from the 7-pin in that case.
It appeared that Tom may have let up, as you suggested, on that shot just a bit. Important Phil. It'll be 7.
Off target. The fill wasn't bad. But he's got himself a fairly difficult spare leave. He's got to be thinking head pin. 1, 3, and 7.
Oh, slid by. Well, it does appear that the winners of this match will be moving into what is now the number 3 spot with their 3-string total.
Ooh, that's a big miss right there. Those 2 pins.
127. So a 381 for the team of Clough and O'Brien.
So 126 ties, 127 wins. And right now he's at a 121 clip. Big Phil. Well, it's only 5.
Well, what that means is 20 pins.
Needs another mark.
Yep, needs a mark to win it. 20 pins, a 10 here and a 10 in the 10th will leave us tied. Oh, wow,
that
he
close.
almost made the spare. Well, now this is a big pin. He may have to wait for that wood. Boy, is this picking up speed? This would be the longest spare in history if this went, but it won't.
I think he gets slapped with a delay of game. And he's going to have to wait for it to settle down.
Remember, if he hits this pin, he just needs a 10 box to tie it.
Right.
There it is. Covers it. So, here's the situation. A 10 box leaves this match tied. Should Pete Pereira mark and then keep it in play, his team will win it.
You got to be thinking head pin in this case.
He got the head pin. Oh.
Oh, wow. You got to be kidding me.
And no wood.
Wow.
Except the wood in the channel.
Now, he's going to have to play the 6-10 on the inside, have it come off the wall. But what's bad about this is he could get the 6-10 and still be left with a 5-7 for the tie. He's inside. Oh, what a great effort.
Oh.
Now he's got to cut the 5-pin into the 7 for the tie. Boy.
9 is not enough. He needs both.
No.
No. Phil Clough and Tom O'Brien win by 1 pin. It came down to the very last ball. Make it 2 pins, as it's 381 to 379. Phil Clough and Tom O'Brien eke one out here and win their 3rd match in a row. They are into the doubles tournament of champions, and we'll be back to talk to all 4 bowlers right after these words. Welcome back to Stars and Strikes doubles, and what a terrific finish we just had. Our runners-up, Dan Brodeur and Peter Pereira. You couldn't ask for much more at the end, I suppose, in terms of excitement, although I'm sure you would have rather had it turn the other way.
Yeah, for sure. I was pretty clumsy all day, actually. Wasted a good effort by Pete, and those guys bowled well enough to win.
Well, now, you guys decided to have Peter go first and bowl the extra 2 boxes, so it came down to you in the last 2, as it looked like it might, certainly in the 10th box, Pete, you had to figure you had something better than what you ended up with.
I thought I threw a strike, just bad action off the wall. Just rolled right in the gutter instead of taking a few pins. That's all it was.
Well, terrific effort by both of you. Great match, and you share second place prize money, $400, and of course you're both eligible to come back later in the season. We hope we'll see you both again real soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Dan Brodeur and Peter Pereira. And now let's have our winners come up. They won 3 matches in a row to get here, and they have made it happen now, winning the doubles series and qualifying for the Tournament of Champions, and we have some money to dish out here. We have $800 first prize money for the 2 of you to split. And now I was watching you, Tom, and you look like you were dying 1,000 deaths on the bench watching Pete those last 2.
I'll tell you, I bowled in the league last night. In the first string, we came down to 1 pin. We were down going into the 10th box, and I made a mark, and the guy I was bowling against didn't get the mark. We win the match. I'll tell you, I like being cleanup boy. I like these situations, but I never in my entire life want to go through again what I just went through. You know, I threw the 2 marks, and I said, oh, good, I give us a chance to win. And then Peter came right back. Peter's a great young bowler. He came right back and made 2 outstanding shots. And I knew I had a good guy as a partner.
Well, you guys really picked each other up throughout this 3-week series, Phil.
Yeah, like you were saying, though, it is tough sitting on a bench when it's all over and all you can do is just watch.
Well, you watched it all the way to the championship, so we're going to see you in the spring. You can relax now, and we'll see you in the spring on the Doubles Tournament Champions. Congratulations, guys. Thanks. That's terrific. Tom O'Brien and Phil Clough. That's right. Tom has been saying, well, he doesn't want to come back anymore until he makes the championship, and he's finally done it. So we'll bring Dan Murphy in here, and well, Tom really wanted that badly, and I don't know if you were watching him at all, but he could barely look when Pete was rolling. An interesting strategy, using the newcomer to roll the final 2, and he was up to the challenge, but just didn't get a break.
Oh, I thought he I thought he was going to at least have a spare lead to shoot at, but then it was so bad that he didn't have a chance for the 10 either, and unfortunate, but they bowl well together.
Well, a terrific match. The final score, once again, 381 to 379, and just to clear up the housekeeping, with that 381, Phil Clough and Tom O'Brien, right now at least, are the number 3 seeded team going into the Tournament of Champions doubles series. But, of course, we have 2 more teams to qualify. Now, next week here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, we'll have women's doubles for the beginning of a 4-week series. And, of course, next Sunday at 12 noon, we'll have a brand-new men's singles match 4-week series to begin for you. And we hope you're here for all of it next Sunday, starting at 12 noon for 2 hours here on The Winds. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole crew, Doug Brown, so long from Park Place Lanes.